The massive alien ship appeared without warning, dropping out of light speed just beyond Mars' orbit. Its hull gleamed like polished obsidian, stretching nearly 5 miles from end to end. Earth's early warning systems lit up like Christmas trees, and within minutes, every military base on the planet went to high alert. Captain James Miller stood at attention in the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, his dress uniform crisp despite the chaos of the past 12 hours. As Earth's leading first contact specialist, he had trained for this moment his entire career. Yet nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to face. The chamber doors swung open. Miller's breath caught in his throat as the Ravager ambassador ducked through the human-sized doorway. The alien stood 9 feet tall, its scaled body rippling with muscle beneath a simple metallic vest. A long tail helped it balance as it walked on powerful digitigrade legs. Its head was distinctly reptilian, with 4 yellow eyes and rows of sharp teeth visible when it opened its mouth. "I am Supreme Hunter Kraz," the alien announced through its translator device. Its voice was deep and resonant, filling the chamber. "We are the Ravagers, rulers of 12 solar systems, apex predators of the known galaxy." Miller noticed how Kraz surveyed the room, its eyes lingering on each human with what could only be described as predatory dismissal. The alien's body language screamed confidence. No, not confidence. Arrogance. "Welcome to Earth," Miller said, stepping forward. "I'm Captain James Miller, representing the United Earth Government." Kraz made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Your civilization's reputation precedes you. We've observed your transmissions. You are fascinating. A species of prey that thinks it's achieved greatness." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Miller kept his face neutral, even as his hands clenched behind his back. "We prefer to think of ourselves as adaptable. Adaptation is the refuge of the weak," Kraz said, beginning to pace the chamber. His claws clicked against the marble floor. "True greatness comes from natural superiority. Look at you. Soft skin, no claws, no fangs. You build walls and weapons because you cannot survive without them." Miller watched as Kraz approached one of the armed guards. The guard, to his credit, didn't flinch as the 9-foot predator loomed over him. "Your species is unique," Kraz continued. "Most civilizations we encounter either evolved from prey animals and remain cowardly, or evolved from predators and understand strength. But you are prey who pretend to be predators. Why have you come to Earth?" Miller asked, drawing Kraz's attention back to him. The alien's mouth split in what might have been a smile, revealing rows of serrated teeth. "To offer you the mercy of quick submission," the Ravagers expand. "It is our nature, our right as the galaxy's perfect hunters. You can surrender now and serve, or resist, and be hunted. The outcome will be the same." Miller felt a chill run down his spine, not from fear, but from the absolute certainty in Kraz's voice. The alien truly believed what it was saying. It had probably said the same words to dozens of other species, and every time, the result had been the same. "We'll need time to discuss your offer," Miller said carefully. "You have 48 of your hours," Kraz replied, "though I don't see why you need even that long. Look at you. Look at me. The natural order is clear." As Kraz turned to leave, Miller called out, "Supreme Hunter." The alien paused, looking back with all 4 eyes. "You mentioned our reputation," Miller said. "What exactly have you heard about humans?" For the first time, Miller saw something like uncertainty cross the alien's face. "That you are numerous. That you fight among yourselves constantly. That you breed quickly, like all prey." Miller nodded slowly. "Interesting. You know we fight among ourselves, but you didn't ask why we're still alive despite that. Think about it." Kraz stared at him for a long moment, then left without another word. The chamber doors closed behind him with a heavy thud. In the silence that followed, Miller turned to the council. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said quietly, "I suggest we start making preparations. The Ravagers just made a terrible mistake." "What's that?" one of the counselors asked. They judged us by what we lack, Miller replied, instead of what we've built to make up for it. And that's going to cost them everything. Hunter Scout Lead Cax stood at the bridge of his assessment ship, watching the blue planet through the view screen. His 4-person team had spent the last 24 hours observing different regions of Earth, and nothing made sense. "Report," he growled, tail swishing in irritation. Hunter Scout Rix stepped forward, her scales darker than Cax. "Sir, we've observed their largest population centers. These humans cluster together like herd animals, yet they show no fear response to predators. We tested this by releasing some of our hunting beasts in their forest regions." And Cax's upper eyes narrowed. The beasts were shot and killed within hours. The humans didn't panic or run. They organized, hunted, and eliminated the threats. Rix paused. They did it with mechanical weapons. From a distance, Cax hissed in disgust. "Cowards' weapons. What of their physical capabilities?" Another scout, Taz, accessed his datapad. "They are physically inferior in every way. Average height, 5.5 to 6 feet. No natural armor. Weak muscle density compared to us. No claws, no significant teeth. They tire easily in direct sprints. Yet they dominate their planet," Cax mused. "What of their apex predators?" "That's the strangest part," Taz continued. "Their planet has predators. Large cats, bears, wolves. But the humans, they've pushed them all to the margins. They don't fear these creatures. They study them, put them in enclosures, watch them for entertainment." Cax stalked across the bridge, his claws clicking against the metal floor. Something about this assessment felt wrong. In 12 systems, they'd never encountered prey species that acted this way. "Show me their combat capabilities," he ordered. The main screen lit up with images from their surveillance. Humans in different uniforms, training with various weapons, vehicles moving in formation, aircraft screaming across the sky. "Their military forces are extensive," Rix reported. "They maintain large standing armies even in peacetime. An alarm blared, cutting her off. "We're being tracked," Taz announced, checking his instruments. "Multiple radar systems have locked onto our position." Cax wasn't concerned. Their ship's stealth technology was the best in known space. No prey species had ever. A voice crackled through their communication system, speaking in perfect Ravager language. "Unidentified vessel, you are in restricted airspace. You have 30 seconds to identify yourself, or we will consider your presence an act of aggression." Impossible. Their language shouldn't be known to these primitives. "How?" Cax demanded. "They've been monitoring our communications since first contact," Taz said, amazement in his voice. They broke our encryption. In less than a day." Cax felt the first stirring of unease in his stomach. Engage emergency stealth protocols and retreat to minimum safe distance. As their ship pulled back, Cax composed his report to the fleet. He included all the physical data about human weakness, all the evidence of their technological dependence. But at the end, he added a note of caution. "These humans are an anomaly. They show neither the fear of prey nor the honor of predators. They study their enemies. They learn. They adapt. Recommend extreme caution in." He deleted the last line. What was he thinking? They were the Ravagers, 9 feet of evolved perfection, natural-born killers. These soft, weak creatures couldn't possibly pose a threat. In the final report, he wrote instead, "Humans rely entirely on artificial weapons and defenses. Once deprived of their technology, they will fall easily." As he sent the report, Cax looked again at Earth through the view screen. A simple conquest, like all the others. Yet somewhere in the back of his mind, a new feeling stirred. Not quite fear. Ravagers didn't feel fear, but something close to it. On the planet below, in a hidden military command center, General Robert Parker watched the alien ships retreat on his monitors. He turned to his staff, a grim smile on his face. "Well," he said, "looks like our friends up there just made their first mistake. They think our technology is a crutch." He pointed to the screen showing the decoded Ravager transmission. "But they forgot something important." "What's that, sir?" a young officer asked. "Any species smart enough to build weapons is smart enough to build better ones. And we've had a lot of practice." The Nevada desert shimmered under the midday sun. Lieutenant Kate Barnes watched her thermal sensors as 3 massive Ravager drop pods streaked through the atmosphere. They were heading straight for her lightly defended base. Exactly as planned. "All units, maintain positions," she said into her radio. "Remember your training. Let them think they have the advantage." The pods crashed into the desert floor 2 miles from the base, kicking up huge clouds of sand. When the dust settled, 15 Ravager warriors emerged, each standing 9 feet tall, their scales glinting in the sunlight. They carried no ranged weapons, only massive blade staffs made from some kind of black metal. Through her binoculars, Kate watched their leader taste the air with its forked tongue. The Ravagers began moving toward the base with predatory grace, spreading out in a hunting formation. They were beautiful in a terrifying way, like walking tanks made of muscle and armor. "Look at them," her sergeant whispered, "not even wearing combat armor. They really think their scales are enough." Kate smiled grimly. "That's because no one's ever hurt them before." "Weapons check." Her hidden squad clicked off their readiness. 30 humans armed with prototype armor-piercing rifles lay concealed in carefully prepared positions. The base behind them was mostly empty, its few visible guards obviously nervous, perfect bait for overconfident hunters. The Ravagers crossed the first line of sensors. On Kate's tablet, their vital signs appeared. Elevated heart rates, muscles charged with adrenaline-equivalent hormones. They were excited. This was just another hunt for them. 700 meters, Kate murmured. "Let them get closer." The aliens moved with increasing confidence, seeing only a few scattered guards who appeared to be panicking. One Ravager laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that carried across the desert. 500 meters. Steady. The lead Ravager raised its blade staff, preparing to signal the charge. 400 meters. Weapons free. Execute pattern delta. 30 rifles opened fire simultaneously. The Ravagers' first indication that something was wrong was watching their leader's head explode in a spray of green blood. The new armor-piercing rounds, designed specifically for Ravager hide, worked perfectly. But Kate had to give them credit. They reacted fast. Instead of freezing, the remaining warriors scattered, using their incredible speed to dodge and weave. 3 more fell before they reached cover. "They're fast," Kate said into her radio. "Switch to predicted movement patterns." Her troops adjusted their aim, firing not at where the Ravagers were, but where their natural predator instincts would take them. 2 more fell. Then the Ravagers did something unexpected. They retreated. "They're running," someone asked in disbelief. "No," Kate said, watching through her binoculars. "They're adapting. All units, fall back to secondary positions. Now." Her warning came just in time. The Ravagers had split into 2 groups. While one group retreated, drawing their fire, the other circled around through a blind spot in their sensor coverage. They were learning, using tactics instead of just raw power. "Close quarters," Kate shouted as the flanking Ravagers leaped into their positions. "Pattern Omega." The next few minutes were chaos. Up close, the Ravagers were terrifying. Faster than any human, strong enough to tear through body armor with their claws. But Kate's soldiers had trained for this. They worked in pairs, never letting themselves be isolated. When a Ravager charged one soldier, another would shoot it from the side. The last Ravager fell with 4 bullets in its chest, its blade staff inches from Kate's throat. Green blood stained the desert sand, and the silence that followed was deafening. Kate keyed her radio. "Command, this is Outpost 7. 15 hostile contacts eliminated. 3 casualties on our side, none fatal." The response came quickly. Confirmed, Lieutenant. Be advised, we're picking up multiple ships breaking orbit. Looks like they're coming to find out what happened to their hunters. Kate looked at her troops, tired, scared, but alive. They'd just done what no species had ever done, killed Ravager warriors in open combat. Good, she said, checking her rifle. Send everyone. We'll show them what happens when you mistake preparation for weakness. Around her, the desert wind picked up, blowing away the smoke. Somewhere up there, an entire species was about to learn a hard lesson about what humans could do when pushed. They'd evolved as prey, yes, but somewhere along the way, they'd learned to become something much, much worse. Commander Rex stalked through the halls of his flagship, his claws leaving scratches in the metal floor. The display screens around him showed footage from the Nevada battle, playing on repeat. 15 of his best hunters, dead, not just defeated, but systematically destroyed. Play it again, he growled at the analyst, a smaller Ravager named Vix. Sir, we've watched it 57 times, Vix said, but quickly complied when Rex's upper eyes narrowed dangerously. The footage showed the ambush from multiple angles. Rex watched his warriors fall, not to superior strength or speed, but to careful planning and strange weapons. Show me their history, Rex demanded. I want to know everything about human warfare. The screens changed, displaying images that made Rex's stomach turn. Humans fighting humans across centuries. Endless wars, endless innovations in killing. While the Ravagers had relied on their natural weapons for millennia, humans had never stopped inventing new ways to kill things bigger and stronger than themselves. Their weapons evolved faster than our scales, Vix noted, bringing up comparison data. Look at this progression. Spears, bows, guns, missiles. Each invention made the previous one obsolete. They don't fight like predators at all. Explain, Rex demanded, his tail twitching with agitation. Predators rely on proven methods, sir. If our claws and strength work, why change? But humans. Vix pulled up footage from human nature documentaries. They started as persistence hunters. They couldn't outfight their prey, so they learned to outlast it. Track it for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. Rex watched clips of primitive humans pursuing large animals across vast distances. How is this relevant to now? Because they never stopped hunting that way, sir. Look at their military doctrine. The screens filled with battle maps and tactical analyses. Rex saw how humans would probe for weaknesses, gather intelligence, and strike only when they had every advantage. They didn't fight for honor or dominance. They fought to win, using whatever methods worked. Sir, Vix said carefully, I don't think they see combat the way we do. To us, it's about proving superiority through direct confrontation. To them, it's problem solving. If they can't overpower something, they outthink it. A new alert flashed across the screens. More human victories. 3 Ravager scouting parties wiped out in different locations. Each time, the humans used different tactics, different weapons. They're learning our patterns, Rex realized. Each encounter, they adapt their strategy. Yes, sir. And there's something else. Vix hesitated. We found their entertainment archives. Their stories. The screen showed hundreds of human movies, books, and games about alien invasions. In most of them, humanity fought against superior alien forces. And won. They've been preparing for us, Rex said slowly. Not just militarily. Mentally. They've spent generations imagining this exact scenario. Sir, a communications officer interrupted. The human known as Lieutenant Kate Barnes is broadcasting on all frequencies. Should I block it? No, Rex said. Let me hear it. The human's voice filled the command center, clear and confident. Attention Ravager forces. Your hunters failed. Not because they were weak, but because you failed to understand what humans are. You called us prey. You should have called us pest control specialists. We've spent our entire history killing things that were stronger than us, and we've gotten very, very good at it. Rex's claws dug into the metal console. They're not even trying to intimidate us. They're just stating facts. Sir, Vic said, bringing up more battle reports. Our forces are taking heavy losses everywhere we engage. These humans, they're not fighting at random. Every battle is teaching them more about our capabilities. They're treating our whole species like a problem to be solved. Rex looked at the tactical display, watching more red dots appear as Ravager forces fell. For the first time in his life, he felt something new, doubt. Send word to the fleet, he ordered. Full invasion starts now. We hit them with everything before they learn any more of our weaknesses. As the orders went out, Rex stared at the image of Earth on his main screen. His species had evolved to be perfect predators. But these humans, they had evolved to become something far more dangerous. They had become exterminators. The sky over London turned black with Ravager dropships. Major Tom Wilson watched from his camouflaged position as thousands of alien warriors descended on the seemingly evacuated city. His Special Forces team had been waiting 3 days for this moment. All units report, he whispered into his neural comm. Team Alpha, in position. Team Bravo, ready. Team Charlie, standing by. Team Delta, green to go. Tom smiled. The Ravagers thought they were launching a surprise attack. They didn't know that every major city on Earth had been prepared for this exact scenario. The alien warriors landed in the streets, their massive forms moving with predatory grace. They'd learned enough to carry weapons now, plasma rifles stolen from other conquered species, but they still relied too much on their natural abilities. Let them get comfortable, Tom instructed. Wait for the signal. The Ravagers spread through the city, growing more confident with each empty street they found. Their leader, a massive specimen with blood-red scales, raised its head and made a sound that might have been laughter. Where are the humans? One warrior asked in their language, not knowing human translators were listening. Have they fled like proper prey? The red-scaled leader sniffed the air. Spread out. Find their hiding places. They must be here somewhere. Tom pressed a button on his wrist computer. Across the city, hidden speakers began playing a sound that made every Ravager freeze, the hunting call of their own extinct predators from their home world. The effect was instant. Millions of years of evolution couldn't override their instinctive response. Every Ravager tensed, their heads snapping toward the sound. Now, Tom ordered. The city came alive. Holographic projectors failed, revealing gun emplacements on every rooftop. The empty buildings suddenly showed heat signatures of hundreds of soldiers. And the streets began to move. Special Forces teams in active camouflage suits shed their invisibility. The Ravagers found themselves surrounded on all sides. Open fire, Tom commanded. The air filled with the sound of advanced weaponry, armor-piercing rounds designed specifically for Ravager hide. Sonic weapons tuned to their sensitive hearing. Electronic warfare systems that turned their stolen plasma rifles into useless metal tubes. The Ravagers fought back with desperate fury. They were still incredibly dangerous in close combat, their natural weapons capable of tearing through standard armor. But humans had planned for this too. Release the drones, Tom ordered. Thousands of small combat drones emerged from hidden bunkers. They swarmed the Ravagers, not trying to kill them, but herding them into prepared killing zones. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy that had no smell, no fear, and no mercy. The red-scaled leader realized too late what was happening. It's a trap. They turned the whole city into a weapon. That's right, Tom said, knowing the translators would carry his words to every Ravager in range. We've had 200 years of science fiction preparing us for this moment. Did you really think we wouldn't have plans? The battle turned into a slaughter. Ravagers were devastating in open combat, but urban warfare was a human specialty. Every street was a potential ambush. Every building could house a sniper. Every corner could hide a team with heavy weapons. Tom's forces took losses. The Ravagers were still incredibly dangerous. But the ratio was shocking. For every human that fell, 30 aliens died. Command, this is Major Wilson. Tom reported as the last pockets of resistance were eliminated. London is secure, moving to Phase 2. Similar reports were coming in from cities worldwide. Moscow, Beijing, New York, Tokyo. Everywhere, the Ravagers had tried to land in force. They'd found humans waiting with carefully prepared killing grounds. The red-scaled leader, mortally wounded, grabbed Tom's ankle as he passed. "How?" it gasped. "Your prey. We're the perfect predators." Tom knelt down beside the dying alien. "That's where you're wrong. We're not prey. We're humans. We've spent our entire history killing things bigger and stronger than us. Lions, bears, whales. We've hunted every apex predator on our planet to near extinction. And now we're going to do the same to you." As he stood up, Tom keyed his global comm. "All units, prepare for counterattack. It's time to show them why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Above the city, the Ravager fleet was about to learn that conquering Earth was just the beginning of their problems. Humanity was done playing defense. Admiral Diana Smith stood on the bridge of the EFS Humanity's Dawn, watching the tactical display as her fleet moved silently through space. The Ravager command ships hung in high orbit, still bombarding Earth's surface with plasma fire. They hadn't noticed the human ships yet, thanks to the new stealth technology reverse-engineered from studying their fallen dropships. "All ships report ready," her XO said quietly. "The Ravagers still think their supply lines are secure." Diana allowed herself a small smile. The aliens had expected a simple ground invasion. They hadn't prepared for humanity's secret weapon, their own overconfidence. "Open channel to all ships," she ordered. "Time to show them how humans hunt." The human fleet had spent the last week picking off isolated Ravager ships, learning their patterns, their tactics, their weaknesses. Now they were ready for the kill. "Execute Operation Hammer," Diana commanded. Across the solar system, hidden human ships sprang into action. They didn't target the Ravager warships. Instead, they struck at fuel depots, ammunition stores, and supply lines. 100 small, fast ships appeared from behind asteroids and moons, striking with surgical precision. On her main screen, Diana watched a Ravager supply ship explode silently in space. Its escort vessels spun uselessly, searching for an enemy that was already gone. "Message from Commander Rex," her communications officer reported. "He's demanding we show ourselves and fight honorably." "Send no reply," Diana said. "Let them taste fear." The Ravager fleet was beginning to realize something was wrong. Their ships started moving into defensive formations, but it was too late. They'd spread themselves too thin, trying to cover too much territory. "Launch Phase 2, Diana ordered. From Earth's surface, hundreds of missiles streaked into space. Not aimed at the Ravager ships. They were too well armored for that. Instead, they detonated in carefully calculated patterns, creating clouds of superheated plasma and debris. Like herding cattle, Diana murmured, watching the Ravager ships react exactly as predicted, moving away from the debris fields and right into prepared killing zones. The human fleet struck from multiple angles. Ships appeared from seeming emptiness, fired their main guns, and vanished again before the Ravagers could track them. It wasn't a battle. It was a hunt. On her tactical display, Diana watched Ravager ships dropping out of formation one by one. Some were destroyed. Others were disabled by precise hits to their engines and weapons. The aliens fought back furiously, but they couldn't hit what they couldn't see. "Admiral," her XO reported, "Commander Rex is broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put him through," Diana said. The massive Ravager appeared on her screen, his scales dulled with stress. "You fight without honor," he snarled. "Face us directly." "Commander Rex," Diana replied calmly, "you seem to be operating under a misconception. This isn't a duel. This isn't about honor. This is pest control." She gestured, and her tactical officer sent their next coordinates. The Ravager's eyes widened as he realized what they'd done. The human fleet had herded his ships into a kill box. Debris fields blocked their escape routes. Hidden missile platforms had them targeted from every angle. "You've lost, Commander," Diana said. "Your supply lines are cut. Your ships are trapped. Your ground forces are being systematically eliminated. You have one chance to survive. Unconditional surrender. We are the apex predators of the galaxy." Rex roared. "We do not surrender to prey." Diana shook her head. "Look around you, Commander. You're not the apex predator here. You're just another invasive species that needs to be dealt with." She turned to her tactical officer. "End transmission. All ships, open fire." The space around Earth lit up with weapon fire. The Ravager fleet, caught in the perfect ambush, didn't stand a chance. As she watched the aliens' mighty ships being torn apart, Diana thought about humanity's long history. They'd risen from being prey animals to become something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that combined the intelligence of prey with the ruthlessness of predators. "Send word to ground forces," she ordered. "The space battle is won. Time to take the fight to their homeworlds." The hunt wasn't over. It was just beginning. General Marcus Stone walked through the ruins of the Ravager High Command on their homeworld, Apex Prime. The massive architecture, designed to accommodate 9-foot-tall warriors, now felt empty and abandoned. In just 3 months, humanity had done what no other species had managed in thousands of years. They had broken the Ravagers completely. Behind him, Commander Rex was escorted by 2 human soldiers. The once proud alien warrior had lost weight, his scales dull and lifeless. He would sign the official surrender document today, marking the end of his species' dominance. They entered the Grand Hall, where representatives from Earth and all 12 formerly conquered systems waited. The massive view screens showed the combined human fleet in orbit, thousands of ships keeping watch over a defeated world. "Before we begin," Rex said, his voice hollow, "tell me how. How did you destroy us so completely?" Marcus stopped and turned to face the alien. "Would you like to see?" He gestured, and the view screens changed to show footage from the 3-month campaign that had brought the mighty Ravagers to their knees. First came the targeted strikes at their breeding worlds, not to kill, but to isolate. Human ships had destroyed every space dock, every shipyard, every means of connecting the Ravager worlds to each other. Then came the psychological warfare. Humans had broadcast the sounds of ancient Ravager predators on every frequency, driving the aliens into a panic. They'd used holograms to make small human strike teams appear as armies, leading the Ravagers to waste resources fighting shadows. "We studied everything about you," Marcus explained. "Your evolution, your psychology, your biology. We found every weakness, every fear, every instinct we could exploit." The screens showed human special forces using sonic weapons tuned to Ravager hearing frequencies, electromagnetic pulses calibrated to their neural patterns, and gases that reacted specifically with their biology. None of it killed. It just made it impossible for them to fight effectively. "But the killing blow," Marcus continued, "that was understanding what you couldn't understand about us." He pointed to footage of human children in a museum, looking at dinosaur bones. "We grew up surrounded by the remains of extinct apex predators. We learned early that being the strongest doesn't mean you survive. Adaptation does. Innovation does. Cooperation does." Rex watched as the screen showed human armies working in perfect coordination with their AI systems, their drones, their automated factories. "You turned the whole galaxy into your hunting ground," he said quietly. "No," Marcus corrected him. "We turned it into a sanctuary. Every species you enslaved is now free. Every world you conquered is now independent. And you," he turned to face the assembled delegates, "you get to be part of something new." The surrender document appeared on the main screen. Its terms were simple but absolute. The Ravagers would give up their military capacity forever. They would be restricted to their homeworld, until they proved they could coexist peacefully with other species. Any attempt to rebuild their war machine would result in immediate and total extinction. "You're not even occupying our worlds," Rex said, confused. "How will you enforce this?" Marcus smiled grimly. "We don't need to occupy you. We've seized all your technology, destroyed your shipyards, and established a quarantine zone around your system. But more importantly," he gestured to the human ships in orbit, "we've shown you what happens when you mistake humanity's mercy for weakness." Rex stepped forward and signed the document. The mighty Ravagers, who had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, surrendered not with a roar, but with a quiet scratch of a pen. As the ceremony concluded, Rex asked one final question. "What are you? If not prey, not predators, then what?" Marcus looked at him with something close to pity. "We're human. We're what happens when prey animals learn to think. You evolved to be perfect predators, but we evolved to be something much more dangerous. We evolved to be smart enough to make our own destiny." He looked out at the assembled delegates from a dozen worlds. "The age of the predator is over. The age of humanity has begun." The sun set on Apex Prime, marking the end of one era and the beginning of another. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson. In the end, it wasn't teeth or claws that determined survival. It was the ability to adapt, to think, and when necessary, to kill even the deadliest predators.